Hi, my name's Richard Duffy and I am the SAP Business One Evangelist at Leverage Technologies. And I'd like to welcome you to this, the third in our series of videos where we're going to take a look at SAP Business One version 9.2 and the new features and functionality that are available in this new release. So I'm also going to be doing all of these videos, or as many of them as I possibly can, using the web client, which has been newly released as part of SAP Business One version 9.2. And again, you can use that whether you're running on SQL Server or SAP HANA. So let's get going. I'm going to take you through the project management functionality. So in order to get to the web client, we've got it sitting out there on a public URL. And you'll see it's here at sboweb.leveragecloudtech.com.au/dispatcher. And because we want to keep it secure, we're using the HTTPS protocol, which uses a secure certificate and allows us to go ahead and make sure all that data is encrypted between the client and the server. So here it is. Here's my main login screen. Now, of course, if you go and hit this server yourself, you can give it a shot, and you would log in as manager, which is just the standard username and password. But I'm going to go in using my own username and password, which is rduffy, and I'll keep the password to myself, and I go ahead and I choose log on. So now the very first screen you get should be a screen which is very familiar to those of you who are already using the Fiori style interface with the Fiori widgets and the Fiori cockpit. All right, so the good news is with SAP Business One, with the web client, you can utilize all of that functionality that you're familiar with. So the first thing you're going to need to do, you'll recall that SAP Business One in the financial modules has always had the ability for you to allocate transactions against a project code. But there's new functionality, part of 9.2, which is called project management. Now, if by chance you've got your own demo version of 9.2 and you're looking at it, you're going, well, why can't I see it? Well, that's because in order to get the project management option here, you have to go in and switch it on. So let's start off by doing that. So we go into administration, we go into our system initialization, we go into company details, and then you go here into your basic initialization. All right, once you've done that, you go here and you enable your project management. Now, once you've started putting in transactions and everything like that, starting to set it up, you can't then disable it. All right, so I've already enabled it, sorry. So that's why on my system it's grayed out, but potentially on your system, you'll just be able to go ahead and tick that, and then you'll say okay, and voila. The project management option will be available here for you. Now, the great thing about the project management functionality is it pulls together a whole range of different transactions into your project. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at a project. Now, I've already started setting up some of the functionality in the project management so that I can give you this demonstration. So I'm going to call up a project that we've already started doing. So here's the scenario. Funnily enough, at Leverage Technologies, we are an SAP Business One partner. And one of the things that we do is we implement SAP Business One for small and mid-sized businesses just like yours, or if you're a partner watching this video, we do the similar thing to what you do. So I've picked an example where I've started creating a project where we're going to implement SAP Business One for a customer. Now I'm just using my demo data. So the customer we're going to implement for is Earthshaker Corporation. All right, now the project manager for this project, you can see we put that information in here against the project. And of course, this is one of the standard sales employees. That's where you set up the project managers. And of course, then I've also got a project owner. And in this particular instance, I'm the project owner. Now you can create projects with sub-projects. So you can get into multiple levels in your project management and track the transactions that you're going to see in a minute against all of those different sub projects. All right, this one I'm going to keep it nice and simple. I'm just going to have one level of tasks and stages. All right. So you can see the other thing I can put in here is I've got my status. It's started, is it paused, is it stopped, is it finished? So this is a project which is now started. My start date, 1st of January. The due date is the 31st of March, because on average it takes around about 90 days to do your average SAP Business One implementation. Can take less time, can take more time depending on complexity, but around about 90 days is a pretty good level to aim for. And then you'll also see we've got the ability to link this back to our financial project. So when I click here and I drill down, you'll see I've already created a project code 322, and that's the traditional project that you're familiar with, the traditional project code that was always there in SAP Business One. So we've got the ability to link that back there. So then let's look at a bit of an overview of the project at a header level. So you can see I have the ability to set a risk level, and I can adjust this as I go through the project. So right now I'm thinking the risk level is about a medium. Now Earthshaker Corporation, I'm able to specify an industry. So are they in high tech or are they in engineering and construction? Well, actually they're in engineering and construction. So I'm just going to choose that from my industry list. And of course, you can see there's my define new option. What does that mean? That means I can create those on the fly if I need to, and if I have the rights to do that. All right, so there it is. There's my overview, and I can put some comments here about the project if I want to. Fairly self-explanatory, and of course, I can put a project name up the top. So then the next step is to take a look and to go ahead and mark out the stages that you have in a project, because of course most projects do have different stages that they go through. All right, now you can specify these stages according to how you want to set up your project methodology. So at Leverage Technologies, we use a methodology called Empower. All right, and what Empower is, it is a project methodology which has 7 steps. So we've set this up according to that Empower methodology. So all I do is I go in here and I specify, well, when does each one of these stages start and stop? So we started this project. The first stage in the project is the evaluation phase. So that started on the 4th of the 1st and it went through to the 6th of the 1st. Okay, so you basically go in here and you specify when each one of these stages will start and finish. Now you can have a stage that goes across multiple lines, and why might you want to do that? Well, because the next step is to identify the task in that stage. All right, so in my evaluation stage, I might have a couple of different tasks. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to define a new task. And the first task that we have in our process is we interview the stakeholders. All right, so that's where we sit down and we talk to the potential customer about what are they looking to get out of the system. Then the second step in this particular stage, in the evaluation stage, is we will prepare a demonstration. And then the third stage, okay, we're not preparing a demon, by the way, there's no witchcraft here, we're preparing a demo. So the third stage after we prepare the demonstration is we'll do the functional demonstration. All right, so I'll just put those in, but you can have as many of those tasks as you want. All right, and then so this is my first task, which is going to be interviewing the stakeholders. And then what you're able to do is you can put in a description. So interviewing key stakeholders. Now I'm not going to take you through step by step and show you every single one of these stages, because what I want to do is just give you pardon me, a basic overview. I'm sure you can figure out the rest of the pieces, because once you've entered in one stage and one task and everything like that, putting in the rest of the stages and the rest of the tasks is exactly the same process. So I put in those details. Now then what I can do is I'm able to go ahead and I can specify, well, what's the planned cost? All right, so I can put this amount in. I can also then go ahead and I can start putting in other information as well. Right now, if you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, what's the invoice cost? And you go here and you start trying to put dollar values in, you can't do that. Why? Because it's going to build these amounts from the transactions that you are going to record and flag against the project. All right, so that's the great thing about this. So what does it mean? It basically means you can go into a transaction after the event and take that transaction and allocate it to a project. All right, so it gives you a lot of flexibility there in what you do. Then the next field that you probably want to fill in is the percentage. So you can say, well, as a percentage, this is 2.5% of the total work effort in my project. Now, what that then does, all right, when you go in and you complete this particular phase or this particular task, sorry, in the project, and you flag it as finished, what'll happen up here, this will update your percentage complete. Right, so if I was to go in here and flag that now as finished, as soon as I hit update, watch what happens. Okay, so I've hit update. Look at that. Our percentage complete is now at 2.5%. All right, now I've made a mistake. I didn't mean to actually finish that. So I can go and untick that again and hit update. And then, of course, our percentage completion goes back. So now I'm also able to allocate each one of these tasks to a different owner. So again, same scenario here. It's just going to go back to your employee list. Now, at Leverage Technologies, we do have more than one employee. We have in excess of 25 people. But right now in my demo data, I've just set myself up. So I'm going to be the owner of this particular task. Now, what you can then do is you're also able to go and set a dependency. So you can't do it on the first stage because it's obviously the very first one. But every stage thereafter, you can say that it's dependent on the previous one being finished. So what does that then do? If I go ahead and I create, for the sake of the exercise, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say starting on the 7th. So there it is, on the 7th of January. And because our guys in our project teams are very, very quick at documenting, this is going to take 2 days. So we've got 2 days, and this is also part of our evaluation. I'll go in here and I'll say, what's my task? My task is preparing the demo. All right, and so they've done all the documentation. They are preparing the demonstration. But actually, you know what? I'm going to assume we've completed that. I'm going to go on to the next stage, which is where we do our mapping. All right, so this is where we're going to map through the business processes that the customer has to the functionality that's available inside SAP Business One. So I'm going to just go ahead and define a new task here. So this is going to be, we'll put it down here as business process gap analysis. All right, because part of the mapping process is to determine where are the gaps in the functionality that the software has compared to what the customer wants. All right, so there's our business process mapping. And of course, I can go in here and business process mapping and documentation, just for the sake of the exercise. All right, hopefully you're getting a general trend here. So then I'm going to hit update. All right. And so that's now updated. So now that that's in there, I can go across here and I can say this stage is dependent on the previous stage. All right, so if I didn't have this second stage in here, there would be nothing in here to select. All right, so I go in here and I choose that. So I can't start allocating transactions and so on and so forth against this stage until the previous stage is completed. All right, so you basically go through the process of building your project that way. You add in all the different components when they start, when they end, and so on and so forth. Now, Once you've done that and your project is ready, I'm just going to hit update just to say those changes have kicked in. You can then see you have all these additional areas down the bottom. All right, so you have your open issues. So you're able to track the issues that are coming up in that project. So if you've got, the knowledge base functionality, you can go in against an issue and you can select a solution from the knowledge base and put that against your project. So that's what the open issues are for. I'm not going to show you that in detail. You can then go in and you can attach your project documents. So let's say, for example, you've got, change request sign off documents and so on and so forth. You can attach those documents here in the attachments area. So just the same as standard attachments in SAP Business One. You can then go here into your documents, and when you're here in your documents, this is where you can go in and you can start flagging the documents that you have entered in against this particular transaction. All right, so, or against this particular project. So one of the keys to this is each one of these is actually linked to one of these stages here that you have in your project. So in order for you to start entering the transactions here, you've got to make sure you select your line up the top here. And then, for example, when you go into documents, we expand that out. It now allows you to go in here and you can select the document. So you can see here's all the different transactions that are available for you in SAP Business One that you can then go ahead and you can allocate to a particular project. So let's say there was an accounts receivable invoice. I can go in here and I can pick that accounts receivable invoice. Now remember, this is Earthshaker Corporation. So I'll go and choose this particular invoice for Earthshaker. I'll put that in there. There's the amount. Now, if an invoice has multiple lines in it, I can just go ahead and specify one of those lines to go against this particular project. All right, so again, that level of flexibility is there. Now, observe what happens up here with our dollar values. As soon as I go ahead here and I say update, you'll now see that the invoiced amount has been updated to include this particular line. All right, so if you made a mistake, if you allocated that transaction, no problem, you can just go in and delete the row. Why can you delete the row? You're not deleting the accounts receivable invoice, you're just deleting the allocation of this invoice to this particular project. Because there's no accounting implication of this, that's why we give you that capability to do that. All right, so you can do that there. Same scenario here when you're looking at your work orders. All right, you can go ahead and you can find the work orders that are in the system. So if you are doing production, okay, you can start using the project management and link that together with your production functionality in SAP Business One and really start to get together with the new production functionality in SAP Business One version 9.2, which gives you the ability to allocate resources against a production order. Okay, that new functionality we'll cover in another video. You can put your production orders and you can allocate your production orders against your transaction. All right, so that's kind of nice. And then, of course, you can take any of the activities that that you have created against the business partner, or you can go ahead and you can create a new activity and you can allocate that against the project. So that's really, really nice. That gives you the ability to take and get a complete overview of this entire project. So then once you've done that, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to say OK. Of course, getting data in is great, but it then comes down to your project reports and getting data out. So of course, you can now go in and you can start printing out your project reports. You can print out open issues reports, you can print out resources reports, or you can print out, reports like a stage analysis. And of course, as you're familiar with SAP Business One, you can go in and you can specify ranges that you want to work on. So I can go in here and I can specify my start date and my my ending date. So I can say, anything where the start date of this particular stage is in this range. And then I can go in here, click on my little ellipsis, and then I can say, you know what, I only want to pick particular project stages. So let's say I just want to see what's happening in the evaluation phase. Now this active button is there because it'll show you whether or not there are transactions or project stages that are actually active at this particular point in time. Now my date on the system is different to when I've got active tasks running in the evaluation phase. So that's why I'm not getting a tick box there. But anyway, I'll go ahead and I'll say okay. And then I can say, yep, I do want to include my finished stages. And then I'll say okay. And of course, it will now go ahead and it will generate my stage analysis. And there it is. There's that stage I just put in. So again, when you're thinking about the project management functionality that's now inside SAP Business One version 9.2, this is not for running, a project where you are building a 50-story, construction project. All right, but it's great project management functionality that can apply to many, many businesses. And when you think about it, there is a lot of things that businesses do inside their organization that kind of are projects. And that's one of the great things about this, is it's not just for tracking those external projects where you're doing billing and managing all that. You can also use this for creating internal projects. So if you're starting to do internal projects, like maybe rolling out a new a new servers or a new network, or maybe rolling out a new employee benefits program or anything like that, you can use this project management functionality for that kind of project as well. So really, really nice addition to SAP Business One. If you've got any questions about SAP Business One version 9.2, please don't hesitate to contact me. My name's Richard Duffy. My email address is richard.duffy@leveragetech.com.au. Or, of course, you can visit our website at www.leveragebusinessone.com.au. That's our dedicated site for SAP Business One. Or you can reach out to any one of the Leverage Technologies team. We'd be more than happy to talk with you. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it's given you a little bit of an overview of some of this functionality that's there inside SAP Business One version 9.2, again for both SQL and HANA. And stay tuned. I'm going to have some more videos coming out over the next couple of days. And of course, if you want to see some videos that I have not yet produced, feel free to send me an email and request it, and I'll do my best to put one together for you. Thanks very much.